with what we've been discussing on the possibility of what we are witnessing on the streets of Kathmandu is a push towards regime change. The first indication is already coming in. And we're going to break that news in just a minute, because it does seem that the Nepal Home Minister has actually offered to resign. Nepal's Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak has offered to resign from his post in the Nepali Congress office bearers meeting, which we had informed our viewers a short while ago, because there has been a meeting, an emergency meet by the Nepal government. The Home Minister, taking moral responsibility, has offered to step down. But will that be enough? Home Minister Lekhak is currently attending the cabinet meeting. All of this in the backdrop of 20 young live students that were killed in today's incident. Opposition parties demanding the resignation of the Prime Minister. But what we've been given to understand that in that meeting, Ramesh Lekhak has actually offered to resign. Will that resignation quell the protests and somewhere down the line douse the anger that we are witnessing in Kathmandu by the Gen Z or youth, with thousands of them taking to the streets? Let's cut across back to our guests right now. All right, so Pratibha Tuladhar still continues to be with us. Pratibha, the Home Minister offering to resign right now in that meeting that you were speaking of, will that be enough in terms to quell the anger that we see on the streets?
With the Home Minister announcing the resignation, with the public eye right now, this could also be seen as perhaps he is also just being made the scapegoat for something the entire government has to take responsibility for. Because is that enough to quell the protests or to address the death of almost 2,000 young people, but also dozens of others who are critically injured and are now waiting in hospital to get treatment because the hospitals are flooded as well.
So you're thinking it's practically, will that be enough is a question that, of course, will need to be answered in days to come. But Alina, would you want to weigh in on this breaking news coming? Go ahead, make your point,
I was also just saying that even if this protest ends with the move that the government has currently made, it's not going to be a long-term solution, because if the government really wants to address it, there has to be more that's put in place. And that will not be enough.
Fair point. Alina Acharya, what's your view? The Home Minister now offering his resignation, taking moral responsibility for 20 young students and lives that have been lost in the protest. Do you think that would be enough somewhere down the line, at least right now, to quell the kind of anger that we are seeing boiling over on the streets of Kathmandu?
I think it's a very inhuman activities that government had done, and we are in democracy. As a constitution of Nepal clearly mentions about the freedom of speech, and the activities that has been happened today, I think it's really crucial. It's completely inhuman, and the resignation is just not enough for it. They have lost their lives. Their father and mother have lost their children.
Fair point. It's just not enough. But do you think the protesters will buy it right now, Alina, at least for now? Will that be enough to douse their anger?
I think it's a very diplomatic and critical situation to say anything, because we don't we don't have the particular leader leading this. And Genji.
Yes, it's an organic protest. There's not one person. Who does the government speak with? Who does the government talk to? I want to get in a quick word from Pranay before we go into a break. Pranay, would you want to come in? Because, if you just mirror it with the developments we'd seen in Bangladesh, of course, very, very different issues. But Bangladesh ultimately resulted in a regime change. And here, once again, an organic protest, which clearly turning political. Who do you speak with? Multiple units involved.
You're absolutely right, Preeti. We see a pattern here, because what happened in Bangladesh, student-led protest, which turned into a regime change game. We have seen similar kind of a protest a few years ago in Colombo as well, which led to the regime change there. So there seems to be a pattern of regime change, through these protests, whether they are self-induced protests or someone has induced these protests, we do not know. But definitely, the ultimate ultimate aim or objective is regime change, and these protests are being used as tool, we do not know. But definitely what is happening in Nepal and in Kathmandu, the way it is being handled, with the use of force, with the use of the army and bullets, this is definitely not the way you handle the protest, and especially your own people. When you force your own armed forces to fire upon your own individual, your own citizens, then definitely it is a recipe for disaster, and which often leads to regime change.